national championship that was played last night between South Carolina and UConn. I'm Claire, and I'm here with my co-host.
Uh, that's Tyler.
What's up? I'm Tyler.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Livy.
Yay!
So to start it off, I just want to say that last night South Carolina was absolutely dominant. Yeah, UConn made a
Yeah.
couple runs,
Mm-hmm.
but
But it wasn't enough.
it wasn't enough because of how dominant. Sorry, y'all. We're having lots of technical difficulties. It's a miracle we're even live right now. But it was amazing how dominant they were, even just starting off. Right, Ryan?
I agree. I watched the game from start to finish, and I thought that the way that Don Staley decided to approach the Page girl, I don't remember her last name,
Beckers.
was very smart, and they just smothered her the whole game, took away their biggest player, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the keys to winning.
I
Is taking
agree.
away that Page girl.
I agree. So going along with what Ryan said, we held South Carolina. Sorry, I'm trying not to be biased, but we held
Alright,
Paige to only 14 points. She averaged 14.6 points per game in the NCAA tournament. So holding her to 14 points is huge. We also only allowed Kristen Williams to score 2 points. Edwards only scored 8. Nelson Adota, I don't know how to say her name. I'm sorry. She only scored 4 points, and Avina Fudd, we held her to 3 points, I think. So, or Ozzy Fudd, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of their players that are usually the ones that are scoring all the points, we shut them down.
Yeah, and
And-
a lot of that has to do with Bree Bill guarding them. I know she's not talked about like Aaliyah Boston is, but the way she locks down defenders, the way she's done it all season has been really impressive. She's held most of her primary assignments underneath their average. So that's
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
Destiny Henderson was really locking down
Yes,
last night. She was going crazy.
Henny went off last night. She had 26 points. Started the game hot. I think she had
She had 8
points
in the first.
quarter. Just she didn't want to lose last night. She didn't want to lose. And all season, the thing has been for South Carolina that is their guards play well. They're gonna do well because they have Aaliyah Boston drawing all the attention. But if you could take that attention and turn it into something positive by the guards making plays and making shots, it's pretty hard to beat us. Or South Carolina, sorry.
I agree. I think that golly, I think that no, it's good. It takes it a second, but okay, maybe it'll come back. Anyway, Aaliyah Boston recorded her 30th double-double last night,
Of
which
this
is
season.
insane.
So South Carolina played 37 games, and in 30 of them, Aaliyah Boston recorded a double-double.
That's
First-
pretty impressive.
I agree.
I think it is very impressive.
It's insane. I wish that streak wouldn't have ended in the Sweet 16, but like she said in her post-game press conference, the streak ended, but they're still playing. That's all that matters, and
And that's the truth.
they did it.
Yep, very.
I think a lot of people were really focused on Gino being 11-0 in a national
Mhm.
championship games. And at one point, Don Staley clapped back to that and said, "We're 1-0, so we're 100% too." And now they're 2-0, and Gino's no longer 100% in national championship games, but Don Staley is.
Yep.
Boom.
Let's see. Also, I want to say this. This is also probably one of the most impressive stat lines from South Carolina throughout the whole season. It wasn't just your starters getting a lot of playing time. It was the bench. So South Carolina, every single player on the bench checked in for at least a minute of playing time. Yeah, we were up by South Carolina was up by a lot towards the end of the game. So those players only got 1 minute of playing time, but it's crazy that every single bench player, every single walk-on got playing time in the national championship. That's how deep South Carolina's depth is. And you just can't say enough about.
Yeah, I think Don Staley does a good job of recruiting and making sure that they have depth. Just in case somebody goes down, they always have somebody to come back.
I agree. And, like, the talk about, surrounding National Player of the Year when Iowa's coach said something about, but with a team of All-Americans, like something, just kind of like a clapback, and probably not the best thing for her to say. But those All-Americans know, because Dawn Staley's up front and forward. She has conversations with each parent. She's up front and forward with them about playing time, because most of these players on this roster were All-Americans in high school. They were used to playing all 40 minutes, being the star of the show. And when you come to Carolina, or when you go to places like UConn, it's not going to be like that. And I think the way Dawn Staley handles it is a lot better than the way most coaches handle that.
I feel like she kind of does kind of what Dabo does for Clemson football.
I was thinking that.
Kind of tries to make sure everybody plays, but make sure they're,
Yeah, and when you're up by however many we were up, so South Carolina was up. Sorry, this is really biased. Anyways, so the South Carolina won by 15. So when you're up by 15 in the national championship, I don't know. That just says a lot. That says a lot. And it's not like it's to some bad UConn team. UConn still had to make it all the way to the Final Four. They beat a really good Stanford team to get there. But the whole argument about UConn, this is like, it's even a miracle that they're in the tournament. I mean, yeah, what Paige did having surgery in December, coming back, that you can't take credit away from her. But saying that South Carolina, like, I don't know. South Carolina beat a healthy UConn team in November. So, and last night they were missing the one girl who broke her wrist in the NC State game.
and then that one girl that was sick.
And the one girl that was sick. So, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't a free dub. I mean,
No, they had to work for it.
UConn wasn't the normal UConn.
No, I mean,
They just aren't how they used to be.
yeah, and
But it's not like we can help that.
that
We're
has
just better.
that has a lot to do with the way Dawn
built
Staley
different.
recruits. People aren't. All these players coming out of high school don't want to go to UConn as well. I mean, yeah, they still like, that's a dream for a lot of girls playing women's basketball, is to play for UConn. But you kind of see the way Dawn Staley treats her players, the way Dawn Staley is building something special here. Well, she has built something special, and she's not anywhere near done yet. But people want to play for her. People want to play, like, coaches want to learn from her. It's just the way she represents herself, South Carolina, everybody. It's just phenomenal.
I agree.
Tyler,
I
did you watch
concur.
any of it?
I did not. I fell asleep at 8:30 last night.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
I wasn't really.
Um,
But I guess to say another thing about all the players getting playing time, it does help out throughout the season, keeping people healthy and
Keep them developed.
yeah,
too.
keep the energy up, all that.
exactly. And breaking it down more, the game more. So UConn was 22 out of 54 from the field goals. South Carolina was 22 from 60 from field goals. UConn shot 40.7% from the floor, and South Carolina only shot 36.7% from the floor. But free throws. South Carolina allowed UConn to get to the free throw line twice. UConn was 1 for 4 with free throws, and South Carolina was 17 for 26. So that's just, you don't see that.
Yeah, also, South Carolina had a lot of second chance points last night. They were
Yes.
missing and just putting it right back up and scoring.
They were dominating the boards. That's why that first quarter, that large 18-point deficit happened, is because South Carolina UConn had no answer for the way they were rebounding the ball. South Carolina out-rebounded UConn 49-24
Dang.
and out-rebounded them 21-6 on the offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that was the difference.
That
That was the difference right there.
that kills a team. If you can't get offensive rebounds and the other team's putting up that many offensive rebounds, you got to find something else. You got to get to the foul line. You've got to shoot. You've got to make threes. Everybody has to contribute, and UConn didn't do that. They had 18 defensive rebounds, but South Carolina had 28. So, again, another big thing was the turnovers.
Oh yeah, they did commit a lot
So
of turnovers.
it looked like that UConn was going to have so many more turnovers than South Carolina, but it actually finished. UConn had 15 total turnovers, and South Carolina had 14. I think the turnovers by UConn, though, were definitely self-inflicted. No, take that back. South Carolina's turnovers were self-inflicted. UConn's turnovers were forced by our defense. Most of them. A couple of them were self-inflicted, but most of them were forced. South Carolina's not as much of that. UConn never led. The largest lead was 18. UConn got it down to 5 in the third. They took Paige out for a minute after Dawn Staley called a timeout, and we got it back. South Carolina got it back up to 9, I think, and they were never able to cut into it as much as they had after that.
Yeah, they went on multiple runs throughout the game, and at one point I thought they were going to come back and at least tie it up, and then South Carolina just started doing what they did in the first quarter, and they just took over again.
That's the thing. To watch it and see the looks on Gino's face in that first quarter,
yeah.
he had no idea how to stop them. I think they did make a really good adjustment coming out of halftime. They did do a lot of things better in the second half. They controlled the ball more, but still, fouls were a big issue for UConn. Their guard, I can't say her last name, Caroline. She fouled out. Nelson Adoda, she had 4 fouls. And then Kristen Williams had 3, Aaliyah Edwards had 3, and Westbrook had 3 as well. So it's hard to win when you're fouling that much as well, especially if you're fouling South Carolina, because they're not the best free throw shooting team. But when you give them free throws, they're going to get the rebound from those most of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
So it just benefits.
UConn didn't look like they were doing too. They didn't look too strong out there when they were going up for those rebounds. And
they were getting bullied.
they were. I think that the size of South Carolina just overwhelmed them, and they couldn't find a way to really attack it.
Yeah, because here's the thing: Aaliyah Boston would come out for a minute, but you would have 6'7" Camila Cardozo in there, who's taller than Aaliyah Boston, ACC freshman of the year last year. So it's very hard to compete with a team like South Carolina, as complete as they are. We've seen moments where South Carolina has, the Kentucky SEC championship game. They weren't offensively sound in the fourth quarter, and they weren't defensively sound in the fourth quarter. The Missouri game, the first half of the Stanford game, but when they put it all together, they're a really hard team to beat, and you've got to have luck. You've got to have some luck to beat them. You know, you've got to have skill, but you've also got to have luck. And UConn didn't have much. They didn't have much luck last night. Skills, they had it. They just didn't put everything together.
They didn't execute like they should have.
And
But I'm not complaining.
I mean, yeah, I'm not either. And not to take away that, I think even if UConn executed the way everyone knows UConn can, I just don't think there was a way they could beat that South Carolina team. I don't.
I think this is one of the most complete teams that South Carolina's ever had.
Aside from the 2020 team, it was canceled because of COVID.
That team would have won it.
They
for
would have.
sure.
They would have gone on the way, and I would have been there. But yeah, and all the returners you have coming back from South Carolina, the future is bright. We have Aaliyah Boston coming back. Saxton's a senior. I think Bree Bill's a junior. Is she? Zaya Cook's a junior. Sanaya Fagan, freshman. Letitia Meeher's coming back.
Destiny Henderson's leaving, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a senior. I think she has 1 year of eligibility, but
She'll probably go to the draft.
Cardoza is a sophomore. Bree Hall is a sophomore freshman. Sanaya Rivers, freshman. Anaya Russell, freshman. It's just so many key parts of the South Carolina team will be returning next year. So
I feel like they're going to make another title run next year.
I think there's a lot of expectations.
A lot more recruits coming in, too.
Yes,
Still.
the number 1 All-American. She won the dunk contest.
Yeah. She's going to be dunking out there for us.
But it's just hard. And it's hard not to pull for South Carolina. Even if you're not a South Carolina fan. Just the way that they have fun. They enjoy themselves. Pre-game, they were dancing the whole time. They would just play loose and have fun and enjoy each other.
And they win.
That's the most important part. But the culture of South Carolina women's basketball is one that every program should strive to get to.
The culture around South Carolina in general is crazy right now.
It is. And this is a good starting point. Dawn Staley did have that national championship in 2017, but with all the talent she's getting, this is a start of a new dynasty in women's basketball. That's the word.
I agree.
Think so?
The new UConn.
Yeah, this is the new dynasty of
Good way to
women's
start
basketball.
it by beating UConn.
Exactly.
And I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. Tyler, are you excited?
I'm potentially excited.
Livy?
I'm so
Excited? Oh, we know Livy's excited. She's just happy to be here, aren't you, Livy?
Absolutely.
Die hard.
Go Cox, right, Livy?
Go Cox.
Die
Yes,
hard.
sir.
Gamecock fan right there.
Oh, and before we wrap things up, one person I did not say anything about is Victoria Saxton.
Oh, yeah,
She, almost every play, almost every loose ball, you see her on the floor hustling after the ball.
Great effort.
I agree.
Puts everything she has and leaves it all out on the court. And you can't ask for anyone to play as hard as she does. Like, she's one of the many unsung heroes on this South Carolina's team. But without her going up to get all these rebounds, I don't know. It's impressive. And it shouldn't go
It really
unnoticed.
leaves you speechless.
Yeah.
It's just,
It does.
it's great.
It does. And
Just can't ask for much more.
You can't.
no,
I agree.
you can't. One last thing that back to Aaliyah Boston, National Player of the Year and multiple Defensive Player of the Year. She had 11 points last night, but she had 16 rebounds. There's not many people in the country that on average, have score the same amount of points as they rebound. Most times she rebounds more than she scores, and that's just
Playing for the team.
like she does it all. She does it all,
Yeah, she does. She's an outstanding athlete.
and she's humble.
She is.
So humble. Like I wish she would. I was excited. I liked her post game interview, but I wish she
I
would
did
celebrate
too.
more.
I like that interview.
So, overall, suffocating win by South Carolina.
Absolute domination. South Carolina sports are on the rise. Okay.
Yes.
Nobody's going to stop us.
No.
More
And
national championships than Clemson has in any sport.
that is true. And if you want to argue that, look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, they have more in football, but
Yeah, but
football's
I'm
not
talking
the only
about-
sport.
I'm talking about all sports.
Football's not the only sport, guys. Anyways, also, last thing.
Another last thing from
Yes,
Claire Long.
actually. This season for women's basketball, I think, was huge. The attention that was drawn to women's basketball.
I think there was a lot
the,
more attention
the
this year.
exposure that women's basketball got. I think is like the best thing that came, other than South Carolina winning the national championship. I think that's the best thing that came from this season, because I've always liked watching women's basketball.
I like watching South Carolina
Well,
women's
yeah,
basketball.
I like watching South Carolina women's basketball, but now there's more games and more teams like South Carolina that you can watch and you can like get into. I don't know. We saw some really good games.
I actually
And
made a March Madness bracket for the women's this year.
Yes.
99% correct, just saying. Just
Tyler
wanted to throw that in there.
was
Top
in the
12,000.
top 12,000 of women's brackets. So, but we saw a lot of good games. The best one I think we watched was last night, watching South Carolina suffocate UConn like they did. And
beating Clemson again this year. Of course, what's new? What do you expect?
just very well played game for South Carolina.
An awesome season and an awesome way to go out.
I agree. So that's
Couldn't have
it.
said it better myself.
That's it for today. I hope you have a great day.